Lead Empowered. I'm on a bike ride and I want to talk to you guys about changing the world because it's been on my mind, and I think so many people are caught up in moving faster and doing more to change the world. And I've been listening to just the last handful of books that I've been reading and listening to is about actually doing less and slowing down. What if we change the world by slowing down? What if we change the world by being with people in everyday life instead of trying to start a nonprofit, run organizations, and be in 15 committees? Like, what if you could change the world just as much or more by just showing up? And that's the phrase that has popped up so many times, is just showing up. I'm gonna share with you guys here the beautiful view and the geese down there. Guys, what if we said hello to our neighbors? What if we walked our dogs? I don't have a dog. Just to say hello to your neighbors. What if you found a reason? This book that I'm reading, it's called The Turquoise Table, is talking about being front yard people, a front yard movement. What if we changed our life to live in the front yard where we had an excuse, we had a reason to say hello to the people right in front of us? What if that could drastically change the safety in our neighborhoods? How much could that make traffic slow down if we were walking the streets and people were just aware of that? How much could it change if your neighbors built trust by seeing you on a regular basis and knew where you lived? What if you invested in people by asking them meaningful questions about their life? It has taken over a year to meet some of my neighbors. We've been at our house for almost 5 years, but doing garbage walks once a week, I've had in the last 1 month of our year commitment, which we're still pursuing, but I think I had 3 neighbors introduce themselves to me and say, I see you all the time. How cool is that? Because it took that long for people to step outside their door and say, you're familiar enough to say hello. And I understand everyone's neighborhood isn't the same. I understand there's places where there's more friendliness or whatever, but what is it? I was reading another book, Find Your People by Jeannie Allen, who talked about fires, how people have gathered around fires for all of life. From caveman to today, we still go camping and build fires. And I've had so many people make good points about that, about feeling anonymous around a fire, feeling like you can say anything, and the silence. Like, it's not so awkward. If you're standing over the fence and there's a silence, people might feel awkward and it be time to go. But if you're sitting around a fire, there's no rush, there's no hurry, and it's not awkward. What about, someone else mentioned, just being mesmerized by the fire, like being just entranced, being so engaged in it that there's no hurry. Like, what can we create in our life? All these ideas, building a fire, putting a table in your front yard, doing garbage walks, all these things that could potentially change the world. And I think we underestimate the value of the small things, of slowing down. If it's not something we can't check off our list, then it doesn't count, and that's not true. I think we need to invest more in slowing down and being intentional and actually not checking something off the list. What if life wasn't so much about education and more about raising good humans? All the things that, having a homeschool mindset of recording hours and making sure that they're getting all the subjects they need, and it really makes you think outside the box and critically, what is school? What is homeschool? And what are we teaching our kids? We're teaching our kids all the time. And doing a garbage walk, there is small motor skills involved and community service. Like, not only is she learning a skill, I'm fostering a value, which is more important than a skill. So how can we do both? Instead of artificially creating projects for them to do, but giving them meaningful work to do that's impactful, and it's building character. What if we decentralize the solutions? We're looking so much to people, to organizations, to government to solve the problems, but everything you do is changing the world. It has a ripple effect. Everything you do is impacting in so many ways. I think about, garbage walks, and when we're on the streets, cars slow down because they see people. And, that's just one of the small effects. And people, there's more accountability. When people see, if kids at the elementary school were the ones that had to pick up the playground, there would be more accountability they wouldn't be throwing their garbage on the ground in the first place. Like, how are we, I think we underestimate those small steps and how much that can make a huge difference. The small things are accumulated and make huge changes. And, there's a lot of things that I look at. It might be dangerous for me to approach a certain scenario and try to fix it myself, but instead of asking all the governing authorities to clean up the neighborhood, it would get very cleaned up if you picked up garbage in more ways than just the garbage being cleaned up. So how can we change the world, our life, in harnessing this frustration and putting it towards something purposeful instead of being frustrated about it, taking a small action step that might feel hopeless, honestly, when you start, but that will have this ripple effect. It's so big. We underestimate the ripple effect and how it could change the world.